The same thing happens in sales. Not every day is you're moonwalking into work. But if you could just kind of get through those tough days, it becomes that much easier. For me, in business and in life, I take things one day at a time, and I just try to get a little bit better. And, the fact that this is such a veteran room, to me, is social proof that what I believe in wholeheartedly is actually true. That no matter how long you've been doing something, no matter how many hours you've logged, martial arts, right, you can continue to get better every single day. And I found over the last, 4 years, right, pandemic, through this time, I go through about 1,000 resumes per month. I hire a lot of salespeople. 4 dealerships in particular, I help oversee for Bill Kopp as an advisor to the general manager, and I'm in charge of all of the hiring. And I found that for a couple years, every 21-year-old kid had a buddy in the car business making $100,000, and I was hiring them, and they were rock stars, and life was good. But then the car business becomes the car business again. And the strong have survived, and a lot of those people aren't in sales any longer. And that's a byproduct of a number of things, but they're the guys that have been around for years. There's always ups and downs. It's not that. It's the mindset that these people had, that they didn't have to continue to hone their skills and continue to grow and evolve as the business has evolved. And ultimately, they find themselves 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And just like anything in life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's sales, whether it's sports, when you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, you're 2 feet out, you just don't know it yet. So for me, I think right now is an extremely exciting time in the car business because, I have a funny story. I had a salesperson show up yesterday to a dealership. Comes in at 12, brings a couple boxes of pizza. 20-year-old kid, just turned 20 2 weeks ago. Brings the pizza, comes on over, says, "Hey, you want a slice?" I said, I'm good, buddy, thank you, I really appreciate it. "Come on in, have it." I said, "I can't, man." I said, "I'll be in a food coma, I got a busy day." I said, "But I really appreciate it." 1 o'clock, he shakes hands with a few salespeople, leaves, and quits. Never says anything to me, never says anything to management. Finding a lot of that. A lot of people on Indeed while they're at work. Maybe I should get into solar. Roofing sales, I heard that's booming. Maybe I should get into that. Maybe I'll go back to school. They're looking for solutions, but they're not actually addressing the problem. And the amount of time that they spend, and the idle mind is the devil's playground, I know that from my recovery, the amount of time they spend looking everywhere else but in the mirror, to me, is fascinating. And I think it's a byproduct of the TikTokification of the world, right? So we're on our phones, and we're on Facebook. And, it's getting a little boring. I'm going to go to Instagram. Not so stimulating. Let me go to TikTok. Let me check my Snapchat. Let me check YouTube. We're just hopping from app to app. And seemingly it seems like people are hopping to job the same way. The second it's not stimulating any longer, their brain goes, "Oh, there must be something else for me." But we all know that this thing that we do, I always say that I believe motivation is kind of like a myth. It comes and goes. It's like happiness or hunger. You don't really pick when you're motivated. Some days you wake up motivated, some days you wake up not. But at the end of the day, motivation will get you the job, but discipline and consistency will keep you having it. Discipline and consistency in sales to do the things every single day that you don't want to do, but you just know you have to. And for a lot of the younger generation, they don't have a game plan. They show up and they wing it. And if you go to the gym, right? You go in, you say, "I got a plan. I'm going to do shoulders today. I'm going to do 4 exercises. I'm going to do 3 sets of 10. I'm going to do a mile of cardio. I'm going to do some sit-ups. And when I'm done, I'm going to leave." But if you go in and just say, "I'm going to throw the weights around, see what I feel like doing," at some point, you're not going to feel like doing it. Your brain's going to say, you have no plan, you have no destination. You're just driving around aimlessly, not knowing where you're going. At some point, you're going to turn around and come back home. So that's why I feel like now more than ever, the salespeople who have game plans, to have experience in today's market is such a leg up. We're winning by default because every single day, like there's somebody at Toyota right now, somebody at Toyota, somebody at Honda, somebody at Nissan, who was a salesperson with experience that was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, threw in the towel, and is now getting replaced by somebody with no experience, and that's who your competition is. So they say in sobriety, if you can kind of just last, you go through some tough days, if you just get your head to that pillow, wake up the next day, it's going to be okay. The same thing happens in sales. Not every day is you're moonwalking into work. But if you could just kind of get through those tough days, it becomes that much easier.